Now it's 7 on 7 News Today in New England. Chaos and carnage. The unanswered questions after a shooting on the Las Vegas Strip.
It would not stop. It just kept going and going and going.
People just start dropping like flies.
It was an act of pure evil.
The calls for change and what we now know about the gunman.
A weapon and a man of mass destruction.
This morning, the search for a motive behind the Las Vegas massacre.
It is 7 o'clock, and this is a live look in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay, where investigators continue looking for answers this morning into what has now become the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Chris Anderson.
I'm Krista Delkamp, and the motive as to why a man opened fire on a crowd at an outdoor country music concert remains unknown right now, but police say 64-year-old Stephen Paddock is the man responsible for killing 59 people and injuring more than 500 others. Investigators also say they've uncovered 19 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition in his home after finding 23 guns inside his Las Vegas hotel room.
We are learning some sad news here locally. 41-year-old Rhonda LaRocque, a wife and mother from Tewksbury, was among those dozens killed in that attack. We have crews covering every angle of this story, from the investigation to the victims and now the calls for change. And our Team 7 coverage begins this morning with Adam Williams, who is anchoring live from Las Vegas this morning. Adam, good morning.
Krista, good morning to you. Here in Las Vegas, it's the dawn of a new day, and dozens of families are asking the question why. They're dealing with the devastating loss of their friends, their family members, while other families, hundreds of others, are dealing with the injuries of their loved ones. Investigators here in Las Vegas leaving no stones unturned as they try to get to the bottom of this. And the big question this morning, again, is why. We'll start our Team 7 coverage here at 7 o'clock this morning with my colleague Alex DePrado, who's also live here in Las Vegas with the latest this morning on the investigation. Alex?
Adam, parts of the Mandalay Bay here in Las Vegas remain closed off this morning. The death toll stands at 59. Investigators are still combing through parts of the hotel, and they're also looking for a motive.
Gunfire crackles through the air at an outdoor country music concert in downtown Las Vegas as a lone gunman fires hundreds of rounds from the 32nd floor of the nearby Mandalay Bay Hotel.
People thought it was fireworks, and so then they just kept going off. So me and my friend turned around and started running, and she looked back and my knee gave out, and I was like, I just got shot. I can't run.
Sean Huff recorded this video of the horrific scene.
It would not stop. It just kept going and going and going.
Dozens were killed, hundreds injured, some from the gunfire, others from the rush of the crowd to get away from the deadly rain of bullets.
So then we were like, we have to get out of here. And I couldn't get up and walk. So this guy, helped me walk over to get behind another cover. And this girl grabbed me and she was like, you're going to be okay, you're going to be okay.
Initially, you thought it was fireworks, but then right after the fireworks, they turned the lights on. And about 5 feet from me, you could see a guy with a bullet wound right in his neck, emotionless. And from there on in, it was just, people just started dropping like flies.
Police quickly identified the source of the gunfire, that room on the 32nd floor of a nearby hotel. The New York Times reports the gunman had set up tripods in 2 windows he knocked out with a hammer. Rifles with scopes were mounted on those tripods.
He's coming from upstairs in the Mandalay Bay. Upstairs in Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shots coming from Mandalay Bay. Halfway up.
Police say the gunman killed himself as they forced their way in with an explosive.
Breach, breach, breach.
Country music star Jason Aldean was on stage when the gunfire broke out. At first, he continued playing, like many not sure what the sound was. But then, as people fell, the terrible realization of what was happening prompted Aldean to run to the back of the stage. President Trump marked the tragedy with a moment of silence. He will travel to Las Vegas on Wednesday.
He brutally murdered more than 50 people and wounded hundreds more. It was an act of pure evil.
Police say the gunman was 64-year-old Stephen Paddock. He lived in a retirement community about an hour north of Las Vegas. Police are frustrated searching for a motive for the massacre.
I can't get into the mind of a psychopath at this point.
The suspect's home, about 80 miles northeast of Las Vegas, was searched yesterday. There, investigators say they found more guns, over a dozen, thousands of rounds of ammunition, as well as ammonium nitrate, which is a fertilizer often used in explosives. We're live in Las Vegas this morning. I'm Alex DePrado, 7 News Today in New England.
So, Alex, we covered some of it, but what can you tell us new this morning about the gunman? What do we know so far about his personal life, and any word from his family as we now go into a new day here in Las Vegas?
Adam, his brother is speaking out. His brother lives in Florida and calls him an avid gambler who is a multimillionaire. He and his brother owned several properties and had several business deals. And Paddock was linked to travel he liked to travel to Vegas to play high-stakes video poker. He also had 2 exes. His father, Benjamin Paddock, was a notorious bank robber back in the 1960s. While his family knew he had guns, they did not believe he was capable of anything like that horrific mass shooting.
He was my brother. Yeah. It's like an asteroid fell out of the sky. He's never even drawn his gun. Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense. He's never hit anybody. He had a couple of handguns, I think. You know, he had a safe with a couple of handguns. He might have had one long rifle, but he didn't have any. I mean, he had no automatic weapons that I knew of at any time.
So again, this morning, investigators are still searching for a motive, but they do say they believe this was a well-coordinated attack. Apparently, the suspect brought 10 suitcases filled with guns here up to the Mandalay Bay Hotel. Adam, back to you.
All right, Alex DePrado also live with us here in Las Vegas as our coverage continues. And as we've reported, thousands of people were in that crowd at the country music concert when the bullets literally started pouring down from above. It was a chaotic scene. Reports of people running to safety, hiding under cars, hiding behind trailers, wherever they could find any sort of place they found safe. We want to go to Kristen Holmes, also live here in Las Vegas this morning with the latest. And Kristen, big question right now, has everyone been accounted for?
Good morning, Alex. Well, that's a huge issue because, no, they haven't. There are still so many people missing. Even driving over here today, in between every song on the radio was ways that you could contact, numbers you could contact if you still had somebody who was missing. We know that people are flying in right now on several flights from across the country trying to identify their loved ones and find them if they are still missing. They've turned the convention center into a unification center, and they have several hotlines open, but this is going to be a lengthy process. Back to you.
All right, Kristen Holmes also here in Las Vegas as our coverage continues. This morning, we know that one of the victims is from Massachusetts, and we've shed some light on this woman. 41-year-old Rhonda LaRock, a wife and mother from Tewksbury, was at the concert with her husband here in Las Vegas. Our coverage continues now with 7's Victoria Warren, who's live in Tewksbury with what friends of the family are saying this morning. Victoria?
Good morning. A very difficult morning here in Tewksbury. This community waking up. They are learning the news about this mother who went out to Las Vegas. She went there with her husband, her young daughter. Her young daughter was at the concert with her, leaving a short time earlier before this tragedy happened. This woman was shot and killed while she was standing next to her husband.
Lost my best friend, and right now I don't have anything to say.
Overcome with grief after losing Rhonda LaRock. Described as the heart and soul of her family, Rhonda was shot and killed Sunday night while watching a country concert in Las Vegas. Neighbor Sue Greenan says the loss is beyond words.
I just can't imagine getting that news. I just can't imagine it.
LaRock's family tells 7 News Rhonda was at the concert with her husband Jason when gunfire rang out from above. She was hit with her husband just feet away. Their 6-year-old daughter had been with them, but left the show early with another family member. In a statement, LaRock's Aunt Gloria said Rhonda emanated love and touched so many lives. She was all things to all people and loved her family. She will be greatly missed.
To take lives of people you don't even know who haven't done anything to you, nothing, they've done nothing to you, it's like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Neighbors here now asking why. They say Rhonda was a Jehovah's Witness with a beautiful family and a successful career at a Cambridge design firm. They say they're here for the family to provide whatever comfort they can.
They lost somebody that they loved, and it's really, really sad.
She has family here in Tewksbury, also family in Lowell. This morning, they were asking for their privacy. Live this morning in Tewksbury, Victoria Warren, 7 News, Today, New England.
There were 58 other people killed in that shooting. We want to go back to our studio in Boston right now. 7's Jennifer Egan has more on how some of the victims are being remembered this morning. Jennifer?
Well, Adam, some people had traveled from states away to go to this concert. Many had been counting down the days, looking forward to a night of fun and celebration, of course, never expecting what would happen. Rachel Parker was a records technician for a California police department.
She was a true professional and just a truly nice person.
Sonny Melton was a registered nurse from Tennessee who died protecting his wife.
He went out protecting Heather. That shows his true self. In his last moments of life, he was protecting other people like he would do every day.
Angie Gomez graduated high school 2 years ago. The cheerleader was involved in choir and loved to act. 20-year-old Bailey was with her mom when she was shot and killed.
Had a heart for people. Bailey was there for everybody.
Jennifer Irvine was a San Diego attorney passionate about helping people. Nysa Tonks had 3 boys. Her company says she brought joy and laughter to the workplace. Jenny Parks, a mother of 2, was a California kindergarten teacher. Susan Smith was a 53-year-old mother and office manager for a California elementary school.
Susan's been with us a long time. She was wonderful, very well loved.
Sandra Casey taught special ed for a California middle school.
We lost a person today who will not be replaced. She's in the hearts forever.
Sandra Casey grew up and went to college in Vermont. She became engaged to her boyfriend back in April. He was with her on Sunday night. In the newsroom, Jennifer Egan, 7 News Today, New England.
An emergency dispatcher from Methuen landing at Logan Airport back home in Boston a short time ago. She was here in Las Vegas at the time of the shooting. With more on that, let's get to our colleague John Coco live at Logan Airport with more on what she had to say. John?
And Adam, we just spoke with that dispatcher, and it's very clear that everything that happened at that concert is still very fresh for her. 25-year-old Brianna Giorgio is a dispatcher for Methuen Police. Again, she's back here in Boston now. This all after she escaped the deadliest shooting in modern U.S. history. Giorgio went to the Country Music Festival with her friend. She was there when the gunfire started and could hear the bullets. That's when she tried to escape, staying low, running for the closest exit.
I was probably about 50 feet away from the stage. So the stage is shaped in a T form, and I was on the left side of the stage, and Mandalay Bay is on the right side of the stage. So that's where I'm assuming most of the victims were coming from. So the left side of the stage, and we kind of just ducked and ran to the back side and gate and just ran to the parking lots and ran to close hotels. At first you thought it was firecrackers, and then it just kept going, and you were like, wait, this doesn't sound right. And then you heard the bullets ricocheting off the stage, and you were like, this is definitely gunshots. So I looked at my friend and I said, we got to get out of here.
And Brianna says now that she is home, she's looking forward to getting back to work with the Methuen Police Department. We're live at Logan Airport. John Coco, 7 News, Today, New England.
This latest mass shooting once again raising the debate over gun control. 7's Carrie Corrado is live in our newsroom now with what lawmakers are saying and even what late night hosts are saying. Carrie?
Good morning, Adam. Television hosts not holding back when it comes to their thoughts on the shooting and gun control. Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel calling on lawmakers to act now to stop something like this from happening again.
Here we are again in the aftermath of another terrible, inexplicable, shocking and painful tragedy, this time in Las Vegas, which happens to be my hometown.
Late night comedy hosts putting humor aside to talk about the most recent mass shooting.
I just want to, laugh about things every night, but it seems to be becoming increasingly difficult lately.
Jimmy Kimmel blaming GOP leaders for continuing to allow people to buy military-grade automatic weapons.
We have a major problem with gun violence in this country, and I guess they don't care. And if I'm wrong on that, fine, do something about it, because I'm sick of it.
Stephen Colbert speaking directly to President Trump, urging him to do something about toughening gun laws.
You want to make America great again? Do something the last two presidents haven't been able to do. Pass any kind of common sense gun control legislation.
Kimmel also having Luke Combs perform on the show, who was at the country concert when the shooting began in Las Vegas.
No, I'm never getting used to being gone.
And in the wake of the massacre, Congressman Seth Moulton is calling on Republican lawmakers to debate and vote on gun control and pass some kind of legislation to keep guns away from people who should not have them.
So this idea that we can't restrict weapons of war from being carried around in our streets, in our schools, at concerts, that's ridiculous. We can respect the Second Amendment and still have common sense measures to prevent gun violence. Do your job, Mr. Speaker. Debate this issue, have a vote on it.
And Senator Ed Markey echoing his remarks, saying that Congress needs to pass stricter gun control laws and that military-style weapons shouldn't be in the hands of civilians.
What happened in Las Vegas is a man-made disaster. We have a gun epidemic in our country that allows them to go into the hands of people that should not have them. Assault weapons belong on the battlefields of the world. They do not belong in the cities of our country.
Local city and state leaders joining the president to mark a national moment of silence at the State House. Governor Charlie Baker paused to pay respects and remember the 59 people killed in Las Vegas. Boston Mayor Marty Walsh also doing the same, holding a moment of silence at an event there. And then Congressman Moulton refused to observe a moment of silence, saying it is instead a time for action. Carrie Carano, 7 News Today, New England.
All right, Carrie, thanks. And President Trump obviously condemning this mass shooting and calling it an act of pure evil. The president will be here in Las Vegas tomorrow, where he will be meeting with victims and their families. So many recovering in hospitals and so many families mourning the deaths of their loved ones here in Las Vegas. Chris and Krista?
Adam, before we let you go, you just mentioned the victims and their families. A lot of people here locally asking how they can help out. We understand there's already an official page that's raising money for victims and their families. How can people here help?
Good question, and we're glad you pointed that out, Chris. So it is a GoFundMe page, and it's called, let me get this specific here, Las Vegas Victims Fund. And so far, nearly $3 million has been donated. All of that money will go to help the victims and their families. And on a final note here from Las Vegas, if you know the Strip, if you know the areas around here, you know that all the hotels have the big light-up marquees in front that promote gambling specials or entertainment acts. Well, all of those marquees say praying for victims. They have information on how to get a hold of the Red Cross, information on helplines to try to locate people who still have not been found. It's a city that is truly, unfortunately, as we've seen in these cases, coming together in the worst of times. We're live in Las Vegas this morning, and we'll be back with more coverage here on 7 News Today, New England. But for now, I'm Adam Williams reporting live.
All right, Adam, thank you so much for sharing that with us. And of course, Adam will be back with us at 7:30 with more news from Las Vegas.
And stay with the news station for the latest on the Las Vegas Massacre on air online at WHDH.com and on our mobile and tablet apps.